Hi there, in this video I'm going to show you how ingredients and allergens work in Vela OS. So all allergens and ingredients start off, as you'd imagine, from the produce items that you buy, which are informed by the suppliers that you use. So let's take a couple of ingredient options. A simple ingredient like an apple and a bechamel sauce, which is what we call a complex produce item, i.e. a produce item with multiple ingredients within it. So an apple, Royal Gala, is quite simply an apple. That is the extent of the ingredients. A complex product like bechamel sauce, however, will be made up of all of these different ingredients in the same way that a prep item would be made up with a range of different ingredients or produce items. So those are two types of produce items in Vela OS. Then moving on to prep items. As you know, a prep item is something that you make internally which contains a variety of different ingredients. I know I'm using the word ingredients a lot in this video. So let's click into triple chocolate cookie, chip cookie. So this prep item contains cane sugar, egg yolk, chocolate, drops. Now this is a complex ingredient produce item which contains all of these ingredients: brown sugar, triple chocolate flour mix, which is a prep item which contains all of these ingredients, and so on and so forth. So this is a prep item which contains multiple produce items which in turn either are simple, i.e. cane sugar equals cane sugar, or complex, where chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, contain all of these ingredients within it. So hopefully that's clear. Moving on to a sales product, let's take a look at a dish and see how the ingredients filter through. So if we have a look at slaw, house slaw. So house slaw is made up of crispy fried onions, our aioli dressing, coleslaw base, and a packaging item. So zooming into the ingredient breakdown, we have crispy fried onions, which are a complex produce item and therefore contain multiple ingredients within it. We have a prep item called aioli dressing, which again is made up of various produce items, each containing their own unique ingredients. And then we have a coleslaw base, which again is a prep item which contains carrots, parsley, red cabbage, and white cabbage. These are all simple produce items which are just linked to themselves, i.e. a carrot is a carrot, parsley is parsley, red cabbage is red cabbage, and white cabbage is white cabbage. If one of these was a complex ingredient, then you would have a similar approach that we've got here, where it would have the name of the produce item, followed by brackets, and then all of the ingredients within that produce item. Hopefully that is reasonably clear. The allergens are much, much simpler. They simply filter through from your produce. So let's take the bechamel sauce again. So here you can see that we've ticked that bechamel sauce contains milk. Therefore, everything that contains bechamel sauce will be tagged as containing milk. Now, all of that information is really, really useful and sometimes a legal obligation to provide to your customers. And that's why we've created a downloadable Excel document. So that can be found by clicking on menus, clicking on the latest menu that you're currently running, and then downloading the CSV download. Here it comes. Open it up, unzip, and it will be file 3, consolidated data. So here, you'll be able to see the name of the dish, the description that you've given it, the category and subcategory that it sits within for EPOS purposes. It's got all of your costing and pricing information. It's got an allergen summary, which is pulling from the produce items that you have allocated to the various allergens. It's also got a useful true-false table for you to be able to integrate with other platforms in the context of allergen information. And then the final point here, it's got ingredients. So this will be pulling through in the same way that I showed you a few moments earlier. So let's take an example. Let's look at hummus. This is a hummus sandwich. Just to make it clear, I'm going to colour that yellow. So hummus sandwich contains hummus, tomato, cucumbers, mixed leaves on harvester bread. Moving across here, let's just make that text wrap. There we are. So produce item 1 is bread. So you can see, because produce item 1 is a complex produce item, it has got the name of the produce item followed by all of the ingredients within said produce item. That continues until we get to here. So those are all of the ingredients in harvester flat tin loaf. So that's that. Then we've got salad leaves, which are the ingredients in our bag of salad. Then we've got tomatoes. Now I've created tomatoes as a prep item. So I've called that tomatoes 4 mil sliced. Those only contain beef tomatoes. So it's a prep item which contains these ingredients. Next up, we've got hummus. Now we buy hummus in. We don't make it as a prep item, we buy it in. And that is obviously a complex produce item. So this is the produce item, and this is all of the ingredients within said produce item. Now, clearly, you might not want to communicate all of this to your customers because it's not a particularly sort of customer-friendly approach to say hummus meze 1 kilo delame. So what, in this instance, what I would do is I would just say find hummus meze 1 kilo delame and replace with hummus. Oh, for some reason it hasn't found that, so let's just do that. 7 found, and I'm going to replace that with hummus. Replace. Oh, boom, there it is. So now that is a more palatable description for customers to read. And then ditto, I could do that with this. So I could replace harvester flatbread and replaced with harvester loaf. Thick sliced loaf. Replace all. And there it is. So hopefully that gives you a good idea about the way in which prep items and produce items come together to form a full ingredient list on Vela OS.